The gun must fire is a concept in writing often associated with the Russian playwright Anton Chekhov. Chekhov's gun states that if a gun is introduced in the first act, then it must be fired in a later act, such as Act 3. In other words, every element, detail, or plot point of the story should serve a purpose and contribute to the overall progression of the narrative. Creatives, let's get into it. Look, if something is introduced but it doesn't play a role in the story, it can create confusion or dissatisfaction. Chekhov's concept encourages writers to be economical and purposeful in their storytelling. Avoid introducing elements that have little to no relevance in the plot or any character development, because remember, character development also progresses your story. Everything in a story should have a reason for being there, and any loose ends should be tied up. Also, I shouldn't have to state this, but it doesn't have to be a gun. It could be a character, a setting, a sentence, essentially any contract that you make with the reader that sets up expectations for the future. It must be met. And if it isn't, then it's time to kill your darlings. See, examples of Chekhov's gun, they are everywhere. So I'm going to be niching it down to just one series. Harry Potter.
What?
JK sets up props and expectations throughout the books over and over and over again. And this allows the gun to fire over and over again later in time. This also feeds into foreshadowing flawlessly. So think about the basilisk fang, which turns up again when the trio are hunting Horcruxes, or the character of the Half-Blood Prince who excels at potions, curses, counter curses, only to be revealed as Snape near the end, or even the Sword of Gryffindor, which takes in only that which makes it stronger, aka the basilisk venom, and is therefore another Chekhov's gun prop that can be utilised in the destruction of the Horcruxes later on. And we see this technique time and time again. The bees were in Harry's first potion class that he then uses to save Ron in book 6. The Felix Felicis potion that will make Harry more lucky later on when he's trying to get information about Tom Riddle. The snapping of Ron's wand, which makes his spells backfire. Yes, it makes him throw up first, but eventually it backfires on Gilderoy Lockhart, who wipes his own memory. The snitch, the deluminator, the shard of Sirius's mirror, the invisibility cloak, the ring, the locket. It's so fundamentally embedded in almost every single successful fiction that you'd be an idiot to ignore its potential as a literary device. How do we use it? Get a pad and a pen, because I'm going to quickly go through this, and you're going to take your notes and then write yourself a Chekhov's gun. First, introduce the elements with purpose. Consider how it will advance the plot, develop a character, or contribute to the story's overall meaning. Make them noticeable and memorable. See, this sets up expectations that will play a significant role in the story's eventual resolution. Ensure they play a meaningful role in the story. Yeah, it's self-explanatory. You introduce a gun, it should fire. Avoid misleading the audience without purpose. Red herrings and misdirection can be effective when used thoughtfully, but ultimately they should lead to a satisfying payoff. Don't leave misdirections dead in the water. Resolve their significance by the end of the story. Maintain some subtlety. Not every single Chekhov's gun needs to be highlighted or emphasised. Some can just be woven subtly into the narrative, and their significance becomes evident as the story progresses. For example, Carlson's Luger that's used to kill Candy's dog in Of Mice and Men. In the end, George steals it and one-shot no-scopes Lady in the back of the head with it. So creatives, what do I want from you? During NaNoWriMo, each of your plots should contain at least one Chekhov's gun. I want you to write it down, and I want you to timeline it. When is it introduced, and how and where does it end up, and why? And then in between these points, I want you to see its journey. I want you to do this for your A, B and C storylines. Where does it start? Where does it end? What's the journey? And that's it, that's today's video. Check back tomorrow when we'll be talking briefly about promises. Sound right, good luck in NaNoWriMo, and I will see you all later. Bye bye.